Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about a synthesizer which I found 2-3 days ago. And the synthesizer is actually very popular, but the thing is, I've never used that before. And as you might know, I'm a big fan of analog emulations and synthesizers like Diva and similar ones. So without further talking, let's start by looking at the user interface. And the user interface is truly amazing. It has those nice high resolution textures, and in general the synth looks great, and in my opinion that's a really important thing when it comes to VST plugins, whether it's a synthesizer or any kind of effects. It should look nice and it should be easy to use as well. So let's look at the sections. So we have controllers. We could tune our synthesizer with this knob. We could apply a glide, which is very useful in my opinion, and the modulation. I'm not sure what it does. I still have to figure that out. And yeah, so the next section is our oscillators. We have 3 oscillators as we would have in a Moog, obviously, yeah. And you could change the range, like the octave, so starting from a low and going an octave higher, and again, and again, so pretty easy. So the next knob is a waveform. We have 6 waveforms which we could change, and we also have a sync button where we could sync our first and second oscillator. So it doesn't say we could sync the third one, but yeah, that's basically how it works here. And the same thing applies to the second oscillator. We have the same waveforms, and we can also detune the oscillator here. And the third oscillator has slightly different waveforms. So the triangle and inverted saw, which we don't have in the first two. The next section is a mixer, so we could adjust the volume of our oscillators. We could turn them off with those knobs. And we also have a noise oscillator, which is really nice. We could create some effects with the noise oscillator. We could add some noise to our maybe a lead, a bass, like any kind of sound you are making with the synth. And yeah, let's go and look at the modifiers. And here we have a filter. We're not able to change the slope of the filter, so it should be either 12 dB or 24 dB per octave. So yeah, the first knob is a filter. Then we have a resonance and the amount of envelope which is sent to the filter, so it's the second one here. And yeah, basically we have the attack, the decay time, and the sustain level. Yeah, and the last part is the output. We could detune our voices if we are using the polyphonic mode, which we could turn on with this button. And also a very nice parameter which I've tried is a soft clipping. Pretty nice thing. In the modulation section, we could use an LFO with different waveforms. We have an arpeggiator and note repeat, yeah, so stuff like that, the obvious ones. But I almost never use the arpeggiator in the synthesizer except for Omnisphere, because it has a very powerful arpeggiator. And yeah, now the motion recorder, if I got that right, this is basically like an LFO. You could draw a waveform and then you could modulate your parameters with this waveform, and we could adjust the amount, the speed, the loop, quantize, and yeah, so it might be pretty useful thing. Yeah, we could use different shapes like this one, Yeah, pretty cool one actually. I like that. And finally, let's look at the modulation section. Basically, you can use any source to modulate your parameters. So for example, the pitch band, the modulation wheel, the velocity, VCA envelope, VCF envelope. So you could use your filter envelope and your original one. And at the destination, we could use a lot of parameters which are not actually possible if you're using Diva. But don't get me wrong, both synths are amazing, they sound great, and they just look a bit different, so it's completely okay. I like using both of them. And yeah, I would say the biggest difference is actually in the modulation. In Diva, there are not a lot of parameters you could modulate with your LFO, but Diva has some cool features which are not possible with Mini V. Diva has some interesting features like different synthesizers. So basically, Diva is a semi-modular synthesizer where you could use like different modules like DCO, dual VCO, you have different waveforms, and you could detune, you could mix the oscillators, and you also have a feedback knob which is not available in Mini V. So basically it adds that feedback, as it says. And in my opinion, it makes your sound a little bit more fat. And yeah, it just sounds nice. And the LFO in Diva, you have two LFOs, you have tuning, and what else do we have? So the modifications is where you could modulate your parameters. So for example, the FM and cross modulation, you could use your envelope, you could use your LFO, so the filter, the feedback. One of the coolest features in Diva, in my opinion, is that you could multiply your parameter. One of the coolest features in Diva, in my opinion, is that you can multiply, for example, if we take an envelope 2 and multiply it by LFO2, you'll get like, not really a waveform, but a modulator which has properties of the envelope 2 and LFO2. And the same thing applies to the add thing here. So we could, for example, take LFO1 and add the key follow and modulate, for example, the filter with multiply or with add. Yeah, basically that's how it works. And in Diva, we could also choose different envelopes like analog, like digital. For example, you could use an analog envelope for your volume of your oscillators, and for the filter you could use the ADS, so the Moogs envelope with a release, so the same function as we have in Mini V, and we could apply the velocity, the keyboard, and same thing goes here. And yeah, and the whole point in Diva is that it's, as I've said, it's semi-modular and just sounds nice. It's a very good synth, as well as Mini V. Yeah, on Mini V the presets sound pretty much the same with some slight difference, but in general I would say you have that Moog flavor to your sounds. And in Diva, because it's semi-modular, it has more flavors, more sound character. So my final opinion here, guys, if you want to go more into the sound design, get Diva first, and if you want a simple but fat and powerful synth, get Mini V. that was all for today, guys. Hope you liked the video. Hit that like and subscribe button if you did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.